In this lesson, we're going to learn beat number 1, and it looks and sounds like this. First, let's learn what the different names of each of the drums are. So there are 3 main drums on the drum kits. I know it looks like there's a lot of drums here, but there's really only 3 drums that end up being played most of the time. And that is, the first one is the one down here by your foot, okay? That one is called the kick drum or the bass drum. The second one that's played most of the time is called your snare drum, and that's right here. The closest one to you right here, that's called the snare drum. And then the other ones are this cymbal right here, and on an acoustic drum kit this would be 2 cymbals stuck together. These are called the hi-hats. So you play the kick drum with your right foot, the pedal down there, playing that kick drum down by your foot with your right foot. You're going to put your left foot on the pedal that's connected to the hi-hat to keep it from sounding like an open cymbal. It's closing the sound. And so you keep your foot there on your left foot on that pedal most of the time. And you're going to play the hi-hats with your right hand. And then you're going to play the snare drum with your left hand. So also, as far as holding your sticks go, we're going to hold them in what's called matched grip. And that's simply going to be to find about the center point of your stick and then go where the tip is, go slightly to the left of that, and we're going to just hold your stick like that with your thumb and your first finger, and then kind of lightly grip the rest of your fingers around it. You don't want to squeeze it like that. You want to just kind of grip it with these 2 fingers and then lightly hold it with the rest of your hand. And then we're going to play the drums with the wrist motion down like this. Okay, so that's called match grip with both hands like that. So those 3 drums, your kick drum, your snare drum, and your hi-hats, you can think of those as your all the times drums, because most of the time you're going to be playing those to create the beats that you're going to be playing. Again, that's the kick drum down here, the snare drum, and the hi-hats. And you'll memorize these names as you go. The other drums are, you can think of as sometimes drums, because sometimes you're going to play those, okay? So these are called toms, tom 1, tom 2, and tom 3. They go from high to low sounding. So again, these are called tom 1, tom 2, tom 3. And these drums are used in transitioning from one section of the song to the next. And then this is called your crash cymbal, and this is called your ride cymbal. And you'll get really good at all these names as you go. Okay? So again, tom number 1, tom number 2, tom number 3, and again they go high sounding to low sounding. Your crash cymbal and your ride cymbal. Your crash sounds kind of like a crash, and your ride cymbal sounds a little more subtle, and you're going to be using that oftentimes in a chorus of a song or some different sections of a song to make the sound a little different. Okay, so again you have tom number 1, tom number 2, tom number 3, crash cymbal, and ride cymbal. And those are your sometimes drums, you can think of it that way. And the all the time drums again are your kick drum, your snare, and the hi-hats. So most music is counted in blocks of 4 counts. And we call those 4 counts measures. So to start learning how to play the drums, we're going to start by counting 4, and the idea is we want to keep all of those counts steady and even. So there's the same amount of space between each of the counts. So that would just be like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then to play another measure we'd start counting over at 1 again, and we'd keep that steady pace going. Okay? So we're going to just count measures, and now we're going to play only on beat number 1 with your kick drum, and again that's with your right foot. Okay? So we're going to play 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. See that? So now, every time we count a 2, we're going to add your snare drum on every time we say 2. Okay, so we're still going to play the kick drum every time we say 1, and now we're going to add the snare with your left hand every time we say 2. Okay, so that's going to sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're going to add a kick drum every time we say 1 and 3. And we're still going to keep that snare on beat number 2. Okay, so now we're just going to do the same thing, but now we're going to add another kick drum every time we count 3. So that'll sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now the final part of this is we're going to add a snare every time we say beat number 4. We're going to add that to everything we just did. So that'll sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. You're going to be walking through these steps with your coach. You'll be able to do this easily once you play it with your coach. What's going to happen now with the hi-hat for this beat number 1 is we're going to play it, and we're going to count numbers, but we're also going to count ands in between. And you'll see how that's written out: 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. These are called eighth notes, and we're going to learn about those later. But for now, you can just count 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and on your hi-hat, and that's what you're going to be doing with your right hand. Again, your left foot will stay on the pedal for the hi-hat, and you're going to count 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and play that with your hi-hat. This beat puts all of those things together, played at the same time that we just did, your kick drum and your snare along with the hi-hat. And we're going to take it one small step at a time and make sure that we're getting at least 3 repetitions of each move before adding the next one. So this will be really easy for you to learn. And again, you'll be doing this with your coach, walking through all of these steps, and it'll become really easy. You can take it at the pace that you want, and at the end, this will be really easy for you to play. So to learn your beats, we're going to learn how it's written down, and then we're also going to learn how to play that on the drum kit. So you'll see there's 5 lines here to write out your drum beats. The very top line tells you what you play on your hi-hat. And again, the hi-hats are this cymbal right here, and on an acoustic drum kit that would look like 2 cymbals put together up in the air like that. You're going to play that with your right hand. So this line up here, the very top space with all the X's, that tells you what to play on your hi-hat. This line right here tells you what to play on your snare drum, and again that's right here, and you're going to play that with your left hand. So whenever you play a note there, that's going to be written on this space right here. And the very bottom space is what you play on your kick drum, the one down here with your right foot. Okay? So as you keep learning, you're going to get really good at understanding what note values these are and how to count these and how to write them out. So for right now, just know that this is beat number 1, and we're going to go through it step by step so you know how to play it on the drum kit. So we're going to break all of your beats down by taking only one move at a time and then getting 3 or more repetitions before adding the next move. Then we're going to add the next move and get 3 or more repetitions on those 2 before adding the next one until you have the whole beat memorized. This is a really easy way to memorize all of your beats, and it makes it really simple. So the very first move is to play the hi-hat and the kick drum together. So that'll look like your right foot along with your right hand playing together. So that's the very first thing that happens in this beat number 1. Okay, we'll do that again. So that's the hi-hat and the kick drum together. Okay, just like that. And we can count 1. You'll see it's counted 1. The next move is to play the hi-hat by itself, and we're going to call that and. Okay, so that'll be those 2 first moves together will be kick drum and the hi-hat together, and then and the hi-hat by itself. Okay, again, 1 and. So we're playing the kick drum and the hi-hat together, and then the hi-hat by itself on the and count. Again, that's going to go 1 and. Okay, the next move is to play the hi-hat and the snare together for beat number 2. Okay, so we'll add that to those first 2 moves. So we're going to go 1 and 2. Again, 1 and 2. 1 and 2. Okay, so now the next beat is to play the hi-hat by itself and call that the and after 2. Okay, so we'll add that to all the other steps that we've done so far. So we're going to go 1 and 2 and. See that? We're going to go 1 and 2 and. One more time. 1 and 2 and. We're getting at least 3 repetitions before adding each next move. Okay, the very next move is again on beat number 3 to play the hi-hat and the kick drum together, and so we'll add that to all those other moves. Ready? It's going to go 1 and 2 and 3. Like that. One more time. 1 and 2 and 3. Again. 1 and 2 and 3. You'll be taking these steps with your coach, so if this seems like it's moving a little fast, don't worry. You'll be taking it at the pace that's most exciting to you and is easiest for you to take. Okay? So the next one is the and after 3 played by the hi-hat. So we'll add that to all the other moves. 1 and 2 and 3 and again. 1 and 2 and 3 and one more time. 1 and 2 and 3 and. Okay, the next move is to play the hi-hat and the snare together again for beat number 4. So we'll add that. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Our final move is to play the hi-hat by itself and call that the and after 4. So we'll do that. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and again. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now putting it all together, if we're going to play this beat several measures at a time, you'll remember a measure is 4 counts, so that's the entire beat that we're hearing right here. That's 4 counts, plus the 8th notes in between. They're called the and counts. And you're going to learn all about that coming up in some later lessons as well. So playing this beat 3 times would sound like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So how to get really good at this, once you're able to play this beat with your coach, then you want to simply do enough correct repetitions until it becomes a habit. So you don't even have to think about how to play the beat. Your muscles just have it memorized. So just think about when you learned how to tie shoes, for example, or brush your teeth, or anything else that requires your muscles. All you had to do was do it enough times correctly until it became a habit, and then you didn't have to think about it anymore. It's going to be the same thing that we're going to do for this beat and all of your other beats. We want to make sure that you get enough correct repetitions so where your muscles actually memorize it and you don't even have to think about it anymore. So we're going to take them in blocks of 10 correct repetitions, and for each block of 10 correct repetitions, you want to put an X in your skill mastering chart for that beat, just like that. Your coach is going to go ahead and get you started with your first 1 to 3 blocks of correct repetitions of each of the beats in your lesson, and then they're going to ask you to go home and complete the remaining repetitions at home. And once you have 100 correct repetition, all the X's filled up for that beat, you'll be really good at playing that beat. It'll be a habit for you, and you won't have to think about it, and it'll be very easy. So go ahead and work with your coach right now on memorizing beat number 1, and then you can complete the remaining repetitions at home this week.